everyone has a little bit of ADHD. Like my blood boils when I hear that. Everybody has a little bit of autism. Like guys, you actually wouldn't want the struggle we're really having.
Let's get you introduced to the Neurodivergent podcast fans. So your name is Praxie, which I love.
Yes.
It's like praxis, like you were born to be a leftist.
Well,
it's
that felt like the highest praise.
And you, honestly, I didn't look at your website or your Instagram or anything. Like you just emailed me and I was like, I love your energy. So tell the people what you do and what you're all about, please.
Oh my gosh. I will try and keep this really short and sweet. I do astrology. And if you know me personally, you know that that's just been my vibe since I was like 12. But if you don't, it turns out astrology was my special interest. And I didn't discover it until I was late diagnosed, ADHD specifically, when I was 30. And
I was 30.
Yeah. I gave birth and I was like, okay, so I have to like rear a human that isn't me. And that responsibility was fucking heavy. I was getting by, I was doing my thing. I was doing what society said I was supposed to do. And I had my systems that I didn't know that I had created in lieu of, actual things. Mm-hmm. Then I gave birth and I'm looking at this like innocent thing and I'm like, how am I going to keep this alive when I'm like, so it kind of just hit me, everything that I had working for me was no longer working for me. And that's when I got my diagnosis. And astrology was always my thing, but I wasn't looking at it under a very particular lens. Like I would look at my chart all the time. I would take into account the transits. I was just very much in the zone. And astrology was something that helped me find who I was and feel really confident in myself. But post-diagnosis, when I hit burnout and I was figuring out who I was, like without a mask on, who I was under this lens, I went back to my chart and I was like, oh, okay, it's showing me who I am. And now I can and it's been the most fun ride because a thing I'd been familiar with for years, I'm rediscovering, and it's me. And it's the ultimate, what's that friend that's in the back jazz? That's what your chart is.
Oh, okay. Your hype.
Yes, it's that person that's you're that bitch. You're it. And so I do astrology, and I found that particularly late diagnosed people are going to find that stage. It's almost like the 5 stages of grief or so. But it's a stage where, yes, you find relief in the validation that there wasn't, you weren't just a poor human. You weren't just a inadequate adult human. It was more that you have this different brain wiring. I find that after that, relief is wait a minute. Okay, so who am I? What aspects of my personality and me, what things about me were forced onto me, or that were bred from, this need to fit in, and what about me is natural and authentic.
Yes. I think that's a huge struggle for every late diagnosed person because, we're just a bunch of coping mechanisms in a trench coat by the time we hit 30. And it's
the way you put that, yes.
It's just what's me and what is something that I created so that I could get through.
Right. Am I funny because I'm funny? Or am I funny because I wanted people to like me? And because I did poorly in social situations, I leaned on humor.
Oh yeah, me too. But I'm not mad about it. I love my humor.
That's what I'm saying. I always tell my husband I'm the funny one. He is he'll put on he's the guy that wears the socks and those really bulky tennis shoes, and he has the spatula. He's a girl dad, and those are the jokes he makes. I'm no, I'm clever. I'm witty. I'm the funny one in the relationship.
Funny. Oh my God.
But so long story short, it's Divergent by Design. That's what Divergent by Design Co. And it's all about, it's mostly advocacy, and astrology is really just a self-reflection tool. Again, it's not a replacement for therapy, 100%, but it is a way to sit down and confront every aspect of you, all of you, and open up that conversation and just start kind of uncovering things that you feel inside of you, things that you aren't sure about. You need somebody or something to validate you, or to just hold space for that to exist. And I think it's like the first and most important thing, because you can go and find some self-help, and you can go and find a coach who's going to tell you how to assimilate and conform and figure out how to blend in. And I say, like, fuck all of that. Like, miss me with all of that shit.
That's why I love
you
being
are
an Audacity coach. I'm like, no,
yes.
I help you be a fucking weirdo.
That's what I'm saying, because there's literally nothing wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. Somewhere down the line, way back when, someone decided that this framework, this way of being, was the only way that made the most sense. And everything else is not right. And so we've kind of created this narrative behind a way of thinking and the way that our brains work that was derived from survival and community. And that's what's crazy to me, is that we all have strengths in different places because we were all meant to have different roles in a functioning community. But we're so enmeshed in this individualistic mindset, this capitalist mindset, this get ahead mindset, that we've forgotten to work with people around us and work with their strengths. And it's created this atmosphere that leaves out neurodivergent people. And like, I am all about the fact that you came into this world intentionally whole. That's it.
I love that.
You were fine just as you are. And now we just need to figure out where you excel, where you're passionate, and then how to make you comfortable in the areas that you struggle. And that's it. Like, it's not about I'm not going to conform. I just won't. And I will never ask anyone else to.
I love that. Like, when I feel like I need to conform for safety, that is like a big sign that like my depression or my OCD or my anxiety is driving the bus. And it's like, cool, glad you guys are here, letting me know that perhaps there's a danger on the horizon, but like, just let me talk to the bees. Like, I'm a little whimsy person, and I love being a little whimsy person. And like, I'm kind of thriving not having a 9 to 5 where I have to like pretend that I'm normal, like, and now I've gotten 2 part-time jobs recently where like the people hiring me know me really well, know that I'm neurodivergent, and want that. They're like, no, I like that you are the way that you are, and I'm going to pay you. And that's great. Love that. Because like trying to be a normal person and like, I don't know, do the water cooler and like sign the birthday card for somebody I don't even know.
I have like a 2-parter, because you just touched on like 2 things. One, this is what I'm talking about. Your employers see a trait and a skill in you, and they're going to utilize that and then honor the parts of you that don't mesh with everything else. And that's all that everyone's asking for. Another facet that I'm going to start developing in 2026 is neurodiversity and inclusion training, because it's really important to go places and explain, because there's so much stigma. I can't even begin. Everyone has a little bit of ADHD. Like, my blood boils when I hear that. Everybody has a little bit of autism. Like, guys, I'm chronically ill, so I use a power chair, I use a walker, I use a cane. It really depends on my mobility status. Like, there's a reason why it's categorized the way it is. Not that I agree with it, but we're struggling in this society that was built against us, and it's hard. And so in saying that everyone no, because you wouldn't want this. You actually wouldn't want the struggle we're really having. And so like, inclusion training is so focused on making sure that your employer isn't viewing it as just a little, it's not that, because then they don't respect and treat your needs seriously. And then the other thing, water cooler chat. I can't do small talk anymore.
It's so weird. Like, I just had the realization a couple days ago that like in my intake form, when people book a discovery call with me, like my questions are like, what's your goal? What kind of coaching are you interested in? And I want to be like, what did they do that devastated you? Like, I just want to ask you like what your deepest, darkest like shame is, so that I can just come in and punch it in the dick, and then you'll hire me because I did that, like.
When I'm reading someone's natal chart, so I do an intake form too, because I just kind of want to get your mindset. I want to know where you're coming from. And I also want to make sure that when you leave the call, you're super focused on, not when you leave the call, but that when you leave the call, you feel like we touched on the things that were like you were holding in your heart. And when we open it up, at first it's like they want to listen. And I think they're more so expecting me to tell them who they are, which that's not how that works. One, like I can in theory, like I can box you in, but that's the opposite of what I'm seeking out to do. And the more you get them to open up, like I'm like, yes, give me the tea. Like because that's where the truth is. Like, why are we talking about the weather? Like, why are we talking about, I don't even know. Like, I don't know how to speak to someone like, hey, how are you? Miserable. The energy in the air is disgusting. Like, what do you mean, how am I? I wake up dreading, like, opening up the news. How are you?
What's weird is like, I speak that language. Like I can access it. If I'm waiting in a restaurant and there's a, I don't know, boomer couple also there in the waiting area, I know how to be like, oh, got here at just the right time, like my dad was a big small talker. So I learned all my small talking from my dad. But like, I'm doing a bit. I'm like, oh, I know this role. I know this part. I can do casual meetup at the restaurant. I'm never like genuinely interested in the weather. I just know that like that's how neurotypical people like shake hands. Like dogs sniff each other's butt and neurotypical people talk about the weather.
My hardest thing is that I'm like if you get me spinning, I'm talking and I don't know when to turn it off. And so I realize it after the fact. I usually walk away from a conversation and I'm like, that was super imbalanced. I took it to another level. They just wanted to be at the surface. And I really just had to go like right under there. And I was just walking away and I'm like, Praxie, why do you do this? But again, that's that that's like a shame voice. And those are the things that frustrate me the most because we as a community, or especially the adult community, are going to have to tackle this way more aggressively, way more head on because it was like programmed into us. And so I also want to be in more spaces where I don't have to worry about me taking it to the next level because the person I was talking to jumped right in. And I love the work I do with astrology where I'm helping us remove the shame. But again, I have it. You have it. We all are going to have to keep working at that. And while what's also equally important is that we continue to be a really loud voice because that means that the future neurodivergent generation will ideally have less and less of that programmed into them. And that they come into the world, they come into adulthood knowing that they belong and knowing that there are more and more places for them, like inclusive of them and welcoming of them, because like that inner voice of shame can be like, haha, that was you're so weird, you took it to the next level. Also waking up in the morning and looking at your messy apartment and being like, wow, I'm human. Like there's two different ways that can like really go. And like one is really detrimental to your mental health.
Yeah. As you were like talking and giving the example of like going like too deep and then them walking away being like, wow, that person's a fucking weirdo. It occurred to me in my mind that like, that's okay if they think you're a weirdo. Like somebody can be like, I didn't like that conversation I had with Caitlin. And that doesn't mean I did it wrong. That just means that they didn't like it. Just like I don't like slasher movies, like there's nothing wrong with people who like slasher movies. Not my favorite. And like maybe the autistic rabbit hole info dump is not your favorite, but like that doesn't have to reflect on me. But, growing up, we get people being like, it's rude to do that. That's not good. You need to tone it down. And I would like us to get to a place where it's like, I don't know, man, that's just me. And like, it will attract the people it attracts and it will push away the people it pushes away. And there's 8 billion people on the planet and it's okay if one of them doesn't like me.
Most people won't. That's the thing. You just find the people that do like you, people that do welcome you. Like, and this is not me advocating for all Scorpios to find all Scorpios because that would literally be the opposite of a good thing.
That's funny. I'm a Scorpio rising.
I am too.
Hey.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can I ask what your big 3 is?
Of course. I'm an Aries sun, Pisces moon, Scorpio rising.
Pisces moon too.
Okay.
I'm a Pisces moon.
And
a Scorpio rising.
That's whack. What's your sun sign?
I'm a Cancer sun.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got water. So you cry a lot.
Yes. Okay. So my origin story was that at like 12, I was very sensitive. I had been like my whole life. I was a crier for happy, sad, joy, like all feelings. I cry. Everything hurt my feelings. Everything had like more layers to it, more meaning. People, tone, body language, all of that. And at like 12, by the time I'm like hit puberty, I'm feeling super isolated in like a lot of ways, home, family, all of that. And that's when I started reading. I had a crush on a Scorpio boy. It's Scorpio energy, man. For another conversation. But I'm on yahoo.com on my like desktop computer, and I'm like Scorpio and Cancer compatibility. And like this thing is like y'all are soulmates. And I was like, say less. Say less. And I went in deep. But like after a couple of months, like I honestly graduated away from compatibility and I just started reading about cancers. And at that point, I had never seen anything that had put my sensitivity in such a poetic and beautiful way. It didn't make it seem like a weakness. It talked about how nurturing and how in tune and it made me feel good about a thing that up until then I was literally ostracized for. I was made fun of, I was told to stop crying. Gaslit, all of it. And I see something tell me I'm okay and I'm actually pretty great for those same things. And that was all I needed. And I clung on to that kind of feeling. And I feel like everybody deserves to have themselves framed in a way that uplifts them. Because when I have the confidence in my sensitivity and someone tells me you cry too much, because I was given that at such a young age and I held on to it, you can literally never make me feel bad for being sensitive. Because now I think you're a sociopath. Because what do you mean? That I care for things, that I feel feelings?
Right.
You can't take that from me.
Like when somebody says you're too sensitive, what it really means is you're more sensitive than me and I don't like that.
Yeah, which is wild.
Too sensitive. What is too happy?
Yeah.
Too angry? Like anger has a purpose. Joy has a purpose. Like all of these emotions are important and we don't learn how to express them. We don't even learn how to feel our feelings. We learn like, stop crying. It's okay. You're fine. And so like we never learn how to cope with disappointment and disappointment is a fact of life. Like sometimes for all your intentions and all of your effort and all of everything, your manifestations, like shit doesn't work out. And we deserved to know how to cope with disappointment instead of just being told, suck it up, life's not fair, get over it.
Yes, there is a reason. And I might be like, I don't want to give the exact stat or misquote it, but I'm pretty sure, and you may know or may not know this, there's a statistic about substance abuse in the neurodivergent community. Because, for obvious reasons, honestly, we are trying to cope.
Yeah.
And make it in a society that keeps trying to also tell us there's several things wrong with us. From a parenting perspective, we're told that neurodivergent children hear twice as many no's or don't do that or like negative feedback and criticism than the average child. And so they usually tell parents in order to combat that, you have to give them like twice as many praises and wins and things like that. And like, I really do think about that. Like how many times were we made to feel like we don't belong, and think of a lifetime of that. I think people really underestimate that slow erosion of your character.
Yes.
But because you hold a job, because you are in a relationship, because you are functioning, you wake up every day, you go about it, you're smiling, most of the time. People are like, but you're fine. But it's okay. And I think we there is something to be said about long-term systemic trauma. That's just what it is. If we can acknowledge that oppression and bigotry is a systemic issue, that it's enmeshed in the way we do things, the same can be said about how society talks to us and then treats us, the biases. Like, come on, guys. And I say that, come on, guys, but I'm realizing like these kinds of patterns, this pattern recognition is not a thing that everybody has.
Oh, yeah. No. So many people are just like walking around being like, well, the news told me this, so like that's my reality. And I'm like, but you could like look at stuff and see patterns. Like I'm going to bring queerness in for a second. I did a video on the fact that like there are non-binary or third gender identities in a lot of cultures, especially indigenous cultures around the globe. And to me, that is evidence that human gender and sex is not a binary. And we can learn from this. And it's like, there's just more to it that people don't know about. And that's fine. So many people were in my comments like, well, we're in America, so why would I care what they do over there? And I'm like, because it's a human sample.
Right. But America isn't, it's a man-made border. Like sex and biology don't adhere to state lines. Like, what are you saying?
That's a quote. Yes.
What are you saying?
It's like immigration, they're criminals because they're here illegally. Bitch, what?
On Earth, on planet Earth.
Human beings who need help and support, and you're gonna take them to the pound? Like, what is your problem? And it's systemic. It's othering.
A couple of months ago, I just kind of like sat up in bed. My partner and I, we watched so much like sci-fi because I think it really opens up so much great dialogue and conversations about society. And this isn't an insult to neurotypicals. I believe that human beings all have strengths and weaknesses, and we neurodivergents have things that neurotypicals don't, and vice versa. But what they saw in neurotypicals was a demographic that could be essentially more easily indoctrinated, more easily commodified, and they have the unique skill of labor and grind and sitting at a desk and rote memorization and tests and standards. So the mold was, wait, we can crank out laborers from this group, and we can tell anyone that doesn't fit this that there's something wrong with them and try and figure out how to make them be like this framework. It's systemic. It was intentional. The majority of the population could do this, but us as outliers, they're like, fit in or don't. But this is what we need. We need people who can work. We need people who can do that and wake up straight up in the morning and get to going and ask less questions. They're more easily susceptible to that indoctrination. And again, that's not to say that they're all just, sheep, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying that they are also victims of a systemic making.
Because the assumption that like the authority in your life tells you things that are true and cares about your best interest. But when the system doesn't have your best interest at heart, it has its own best interest at heart. Everybody's getting exploited. And what pisses me off as an autistic person is that they can't even see it. And they're like going to blame me for being non-binary. They're like, it's the transes.
I love stuff like this. And I could go on and on and on. This is kind of my biggest gripe, is that everybody is inclusivity is intersectional, and it literally is for everyone's benefit. And it makes me sick to my stomach that isn't just the fact of the matter. And I know that we are going to be fighting a massive uphill battle, and in our lifetime, we'll likely only see it move an inch, which I will be happy with. Because again, this is something that will take, I don't even know what, like maybe an alien coming and telling people that y'all were just effing it up from the jump. But my astrology, for that reason, is 100% indiscriminate. When you look at a natal chart, if you take away the name from it and I just see a chart, like I can't tell you if this person walks around like they took their jobs. I can't tell you if that's that type of person. I can tell you where they struggle. I can tell you their strengths. I can tell you maybe like what makes them feel good and where their creative outlets are. And that's all that we needed to have done with humans. That's really all we needed to have done. Not how do I exploit this person for my needs? How do I help them integrate into a community and feel their best, be their best, and, work together? But that's not where we're at right now. So my focus is just, again, letting people know, especially late diagnosed neurodivergent people, like y'all are a lot better than you've likely gone your whole life being made to think you are. You're amazing. I don't know how many planners you went through, like how many journals, planners, like self-help, like I'm gonna like January 1st, I'm gonna fill this thing out. Like for me, that was my biggest issue. was feeling like I wasn't a functioning adult, and that there like something out there, some tool was going to help me be better and more like them. And like I've since turned that mess off. Like that mindset's completely gone, but like there's so many of us out there that are still looking for some not quick fix, so to speak, but something that'll help shift us to be more like them. And I don't want that. I want us to be us, because a lot of us have done a lot for society and people just don't know it.
Yes. Damn. Yes. Snaps. Thank you. I'm so excited. Like, this is such a great conversation already. And like, we haven't even really gotten into astrology. So take us there. I have my chart handy just in case
Ooh.
you need it.
Ooh. Okay. Sorry, I'm marveling because you and I have the same degree. Rising sign. And so the theory is that someone who has the same rising as you, but more so closer in degree, had a very similar life path, as in lots of, we'll likely find that we have a lot of similar things that happen to us. I don't know how to explain it because I don't often meet someone who has the same or close enough degree.
I'm really pumped.
I think it's particularly crazy that you have where is it? Where's your moon? Your like your Pisces moon even. We have like the same moon sign, which means that like our emotions and where we're rooted are in the same house and for the same. I don't think it's like a mistake that you're doing things like, you know, empowering people and you're an audacity coach and I'm here, you know, doing like neurodivergent advocacy. Like, I don't think that is like, I think there's a reason why. But there's so much. Let me see.
Not just a coincidence.
No, but let's see. Your Sun and Mercury and Aries. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, wait, because we're the same. Pluto's in the first house because Pluto lived there for a long time. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like a particular trend in your life is centered around super intense transformations? And what I mean by that is like massive, like, and it's not always great and not always pretty, but usually like something super intense happens, super life altering, and like you come out of it better every time. But like it's kind of a trend in your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like roughly every 7 years.
And likely with regards, particularly with your identity, like who you are and how the world receives you.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. My biggest one was leaving an abusive marriage.
And there's like literally, so I don't even know where to begin. So your Chiron is also in the house that Pluto is meant to rule, and your Venus is in there too. So Chiron is like a wounded healer. Venus is about relationships and balance and love and also security. And so having your wounded healer in the same house as this aspect, this planet of love, balance, relationship, so to speak, so crazy, is that, so that essentially means that you were destined to have a transformative relationship that made you stronger. And again, this isn't like a, you know, like this bad relationship where DV is going to make you stronger. Nothing like that. It's just what it is. It's that you will come out of this helping others. Also, like, it's more particularly about helping others and learning from your situation and helping others get through that. That's what
a lot of people have told me, that like talking about my abusive relationship helped them realize they were in abusive relationships. So I have helped a lot of people get out of abusive relationships.
The final thing is that Gemini, our sign of communication and broadcasting, is the ruler of that house. So the eighth house connects to your first house in that your chart ruler is, its home is housing these signs that kind of drive that transformation in you, but then also adds the where and the why and the how. And that's you. And that's by you kind of communicating your life story and opening up that dialogue and reaching people and healing yourself and other people through that.
Wow. Okay.
Another thing, and I think this is you have kind of developed, so to speak, or curated, I'm going to use the word curated, a place for community. Your public persona, that person that the public knows you in that way in career. This is most particularly career, but just your outward facing life is in the house of community, is in the house of groups, organizations, things like that. But in Virgo, and so this was something that you did meticulously, you probably took your time really honing in on what exactly and how exactly you are going to have this community. And you're also likely a bit radical about it. Like you're not going to be accepting of anything that's closed minded, like with like impunity. I use the word intolerance, and I want people to be a little bit more open, especially us on this side of the political spectrum. Like, I want us to be more accepting of the word intolerance, because one thing we all should agree on is that we will not tolerate bigotry, because if you let even a little squeeze of that shit in, it's toxic. Okay. So Virgo in 11th house with your midhaven here, the community that you've built is like radically unique, probably radically progressive, but also like you have like a grip on that. Like you have that, like not controlled, but you very much are kind of really particular about how that is executed and how that space is held.
Yeah, you're totally on the nose. I've got like a free Facebook group. I have my Patreon, which is called the Creatives Rebellion, and is like literally about radical whimsy. Like radical whimsy is a phrase I just came up with and added into like my branding.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. And my I do a writing incubator, and I've been doing a lot of like work mentally and emotionally on like how I want that to be structured as I move into the future. And so like, yeah, it's very meticulous. And sometimes like I'm throwing shit at the wall while I figure out the meticulous parts of it. So it looks messy, but all the mess is data gathering.
You say that, and like, let's just take a little stroll down to your 5th house, which is directly across from your midhaven. Directly across from your 11th house, Virgo, and opposite where your Pisces moon and your North Node is. And you say radical whimsy.
Yes.
And we put this watery, dreamy Pisces moon in the house of creativity, self-expression, fun, entertainment. And your North Node is here, which means you will constantly exist and work towards that energy. Like I'm looking at your background and I'm seeing all the whimsy. I'm seeing colorful, I'm seeing creativity, I'm seeing ethereal, I'm seeing dreamy, but most importantly, your North Node is essentially your life's purpose, and it's that calling. It's a calling. It's not like your Aries sun in the 6th house, which is, just who you are. Like it's your identity. That's who you are. That's true to you. Those are where your morals are, the things that guide you. This North Node, your Pisces North Node in the 5th house, anyone's North Node is a calling. You feel that because it pulls you into a direction, and you can't ignore it. It's a very loud voice in your head. And that's not to say that, because it calls you pick up the phone and now y'all are chatting. It's a thing that you work towards constantly. And this space of creativity, this space of intuitive creativity, this space of ultimate kindness and nurturing, it's just really important to keep in mind that your moon, so your emotions are tied into this. Your heart, your passion, essentially, is very much intertwined with this purpose of self-expression. You feeling this need to exist as loudly or quietly as you want to, without border, without barrier, and it's going to be super eclectic. That's one thing for sure. It's not going to be like, everyone has like a vibe. It's not so much that, because that's too limiting for someone with your placements. You will always, it's not that you'll be like this and be like this. It's more that like you need to be able to explore everything and then pull in what makes you feel good. You need to always be creating. You need to always be creative. you probably die a little bit inside when you're in a beige atmosphere. And what I mean by a beige
No,
atmosphere
I
is very
know
much
what
like,
you mean.
okay.
Oh no, I'm working on a blog post right now about like beige cover letters. And I'm like, put some whimsy in your cover letter, put some personality in there. So no, like you said beige and I knew exactly what you meant by beige.
Yeah. Yes.
Is
You
no,
don't like, yeah.
there's no beige here.
No. And like, and for anyone like listening, like, please know, yes, we mean the color, but also like
The vibe.
beige. So my version of beige is like data entry. Like I will die. Anything that's just monotonous, I can't. Like I just can't. And most of us neurodivergent people also can't. Like it doesn't really tickle the brain the way it needs to. Where that's gonna bug you the most, it really depends on your house. Like, and for you, your house of creativity, like you have to honor that because you have two really strong placements, your moon and your north in this house. Also, with that said, I know you said you pulled up your chart. I have to preface because they're without getting too into like too much of the nitty gritty. When it comes to astrology, there are different ways to read the houses, and it really is dependent on the astrologer and how they either learned it or how they prefer. So I read mine whole sign, which means every house is equal, every house is the same size. And if you ever read your house, for example, the default is Placidus, you might have something that looks different. So if you have your chart and I'm saying it's in this house or this planet is here and it doesn't sound right, it's possible because you pulled up a different format, for example, if that makes any sense.
So I keep buying like the ritual planner, which is like a tarot spread planner, and then I use it for a month and a half. And so I've started cannibalizing it into a notebook, just like taking notes on the things that interest me. So it is a Frankenstein chart, but I did have it to reference as you talk about things.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure because some people like if you were to just Google your chart, the default setting is Placidus, which is not the way that I read mine. And you can always change the format just for anyone that ever wants to do this.
You've been reading me for filth the whole time, so keep going. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So, and I just want to let everyone know that like this is kind of how it goes. Is I'm not exactly here to tell you who you are. Like you can be like, no, that doesn't feel right, or yes, that feels right. But also, it's more for you to start thinking about things that you may not have been listening to. Like I said, like, do you have a calling? Is it have you been ignoring really loud voice because you think you're not supposed to? I said to my therapist one time, I said that I sometimes worry that I have some kind of like underlying narcissism because I feel like I shouldn't exist quietly. And if someone like me came and sat in front of me and I looked at my chart with my 10th house in Leo, like the sun, the one that with the planets revolve around, it's in my 10th house, public life. Like, no, I'm not meant to exist quietly. Like, I feel that for a reason. And this is where I want to talk about the validation. Like, like someone I can tell you, like, no, that's okay. And that doesn't mean you're a narcissist. That means that you have a desire to be a little bit more impactful, things like that. With that said, for you, let's go back to, and this is another thing I want to get to. There are going to be parts of your chart that are louder or quieter. There are going to be sometimes where I'll do a chart reading and I don't even talk about a house over here because it's not important or pivotal. As in, let's say your ninth house is travel, expansion, philosophy, higher education. And it doesn't have any planets in it, and it's in Cancer. And that is just a house that is calm. It's just a place where, yes, higher education can happen, travel can happen, expansion can happen, but that's not going to be pivotal in your life. I see places like, where is it? Your third house of where Gemini is supposed to rule of broadcasting has Saturn and Neptune and Uranus. Let me make sure. I have to look at.
Yeah, no, I've got 3 in there.
Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, are they all on top of each other? No, Saturn and Uranus are conjunct, and Neptune is 10 degrees. Okay, so I like this one. So the word discipline, so Saturn is this planet that, and it's home in Capricorn. So you have this I'm trying to figure out how to put it because it's not exactly about discipline. It's more about a foundation. And so when we think about foundation, I want people to picture concrete, someone laying down concrete. Saturn is all about having a strong foundation. Wherever that house is, or sorry, wherever that planet is in whatever house, you need to have a really firm foundation for everything you build on top of that. So that's what Saturn is. So Saturn's role here in your third house with it conjunct Uranus. And when they're that close, they're literally 1 degree apart. They're acting as one super planet. So both of their energies kind of mix. You cannot have. So I can't talk about your Saturn without also talking about Uranus. And that is you have a lot of air in you. The word whimsy, God, is you. I'm getting a little distracted, but when did you come up with that? Because that is like.
So like I have always like said whimsy, but the phrase radical whimsy was like a week ago.
Uranus is our rebel.
Oh,
It rules Aquarius. And yeah, Uranus is the rebel. It is the activist.
This is so funny because like I just redid my values on my website and it's all about like radical whimsy as rebellion against the systemic status quo.
Yes.
So like a rebellious foundation.
I love that you said that you redid that. And this is just that Saturn Uranus kind of working hand in hand because what you're doing is solidifying your foundation.
Yeah.
Like from where you're coming from. The stronger place that you're coming from, the more rooted and aligned you are, the more powerful your message because your conviction is true and it aligns with you. So you going over that means that you are fully aware subconsciously that you need to have, and this isn't like I just needed to update my copy so it makes sense and it sounds cool. Like you need to communicate truly what you're trying to say with this vocabulary. And so this specific moment think of it as a example, your Saturn Uranus conjunction in the third house. It's about communication. It's about information sharing. This is ruled by Gemini and ruled by Mercury traditionally. And so their goal is to communicate and broadcast and speak and share information from person to person. So when you put this conjunction here with Capricorn, all about the boss, Capricorn's the boss, it's all about having a strong foundation from where to communicate. And your foundation will always be radical. It will always be rebellious. Like, again, Uranus is our rebel. And so your foundation isn't traditional. Saturn is a traditionalist by heart. But now that you put Uranus right on top of it, that fucking planet spins on its side, by the way, guys. It's weird. It has to be. And so it's sitting right on top of Saturn and it says, yeah, your foundation, your concrete's cool, but what if it was just like a garden bed? Like, what if my foundation was,
oh God. I just like came up with this metaphor and I call it the meadow, which is like the safe, like soft rebellion, right? It's like, no, we're in the meadow. Nothing can get us here. It is a place to like let everything down and just be safe. And I was literally recording some audio like meditations called Meet Me in the Meadow before we met today.
That's beautiful.
This is delightful. Oh my God. Also, I put my values page in the chat if you just want to look at it later.
I would love to. This is so like, listen, when I tell you like, this is so fun to do. I love stuff like this. This is so fun.
I'm delighted right now.
It's amazing. So one thing I have not touched on, funny enough, is your sun sign and your Mercury sign. And hold on, so give me a second. So, and I have to tell people because sometimes like there's going to be like a 30-second pause because I'm like, I don't know if you can see. So like this is usually what I'm looking at, and there's like lines and stuff like that. So always like I'm always like trying to connect these dots and things like that. So I just want to quickly see where if your Mercury is doing anything with anybody.
Oh, I actually have that. My Mercury is something
house Aries.
It's conjunct with Aries, I think, or conjunct with my sun, maybe.
So let me see. Yeah, by 3 degrees. And a lot of there's like a running, not it's not like a joke, but like a running thing in astrology is if your sun and your Mercury are conjunct, then you say what you mean. Like those people are usually the ones who they're pretty straightforward and pretty like what they said is like I said what I said. Like that like means. It is very important that you are true to what you say is true to you. And it may, and again, you said it earlier about blending into spaces out of safety. And so I always have to preface it and let people know, like, in your own good time and when it makes the most sense. Like, I do think a lot of us mask because we have to. And while I would love to drop the mask all the time, that's not the reality we live in. We still have to like be in this world. So use your discretion. But with that said, you will always be more at peace with yourself when what you say is authentic to you. And honestly, that's kind of your overall trend of your chart. If I like was to culminate this like not a final message, but kind of do a culmination of something that your chart is telling me is that mostly a lot of your planets are at the bottom. So they're in personal houses and more internal. And that mostly means that you, again, your foundations, you have to get yourself, you have to be right with yourself. And nothing else matters, like nothing will matter if you're not right with yourself. You're not at peace and whole with yourself. Your Pisces moon in the 5th house, your sun is in the 6th house, and your rising sign is in the 1st house. And so you have your identity, you have your self expression, and you have your routines, your day to day. And all of those three aspects hold very poignant parts of our chart. And so when looking at your sun and your Mercury, the way that you communicate and speak to other people always should be. I'm not going to say that this is what you do, so because I won't assume, but it always should align with who you are. And I also believe that most neurodivergent people these days are leaning more towards just speaking their truth, ideally. But some people will have aspects where they can get by saying whatever just to get into the room that they need to be in, and that works for them. That's a good strategy. Your strategy is authenticity. And that has to be communicated, as in what you say has to feel authentic to you, or no one else will believe it. And I think that goes back to Mercury house, the house that Mercury rules, that 3rd house of where your Capricorn and Uranus are conjunct, that how it rules that. And so that's connected in that your foundations will be strong and need to be strong and can be strong. And as long as they are, people will feel and see that. And that's all that matters.
I have found that to be very accurate. Like when business isn't going so good, it's usually because like I'm trying to do somebody else's strategy, or like I'm trying to be professional. And then when I just let the feral whimsy fairy out, people are like, I love you. I'm following you. I'm hiring you. Let's go. And it really just reinforces like all those hard steps, because it's hard to be vulnerable, but like being vulnerable is how you make real connection.
Absolutely. You putting this out here on YouTube, this broadcasting, so to speak. Why do I say so to speak? It is broadcasting. This way and method is 100% true to you. This is very much a 3rd house thing. When they said broadcasting, this was back when like when a lot of these definitions and connections were made. This is back when like radio was really the way to do it, and just like pre-YouTube. So in modern times, when you think broadcasting, you just have to think about the ways that we as human beings connect to a larger. So it can be social media, whatever. And so this format is very much true to you, but it's also an extremely nerve-wracking thing to do. Like a lot of people would love to just, hop on YouTube and have a channel, or, have social media and have a presence and keep putting things out there. That is extremely difficult to just start. But you're so right. And keeping up with that, and our like neurodivergent brains, sometimes we want the goal that's like over here, and we forget about all the little things that'll get us there. And it's also perfectionism. But the most amazing thing about Capricorn and Saturn specifically is, hold on, I'm looking at your chart to make sure that I'm not missing anything that it is aspecting, which is aspecting Jupiter of expansion. Okay, there it is. I think it's trining Jupiter, trine Saturn. Okay, yes. So I'm right. So expansion, Jupiter is our abundance, more, take me in. It is trining your Saturn, which means it is connected in a easy, compatible flow. And so the slow build, Capricorn rules wintertime, the leaves fall, everything looks dead and barren. And what people forget is that come spring, that lilac will still, when you saw it in January, it was dead and dry and it was just some twigs. But when you see it in the first of spring, it is the most beautifully colored bush ever. And I remind people that that's because its roots are strong. That's why. And so your Saturn Uranus conjunction trining our planet of expansion means that as long as you keep building those roots and doing it the hard way, doing it the slow, deliberate way, doing it your way is the only way that Jupiter and that expansive energy is going to be activated. The second you start trying to jump onto any clickbait trend that doesn't align, or you know what I mean?
Yes, I hate those.
Me too.
I keep taking little courses. It's how to do a reel that converts. And it's always get them with a hook. And I can't stand the hooks because the hooks always say the same thing. They're oh, we thought we knew what music was. And then we heard K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right. And it's bullshit.
I don't like to bullshit people.
You'll look at my Instagram and it's dry because, listen, I'm not 5 signs that have the biggest pinky toe. What am I saying?
Yeah.
It's fun. I also follow some of those hilarious Zodiac accounts because I think they're funny as hell. I think it's so much fun, but it's not the same as what I'm doing and therefore not aligned. And so you'll never see me just post things to attention grab. It's why I choose to do podcasts because people have to hear me speak about it. And that's how I get people interested. There's no other way. Any other way for me is not authentic. And so, yes, you just have to do it the way that feels true to you. And then expansion naturally breeds. And I'll do the converse of that. If you take my Jupiter placement, mine is in my house of communities and organizations. And that means that my expansion will come when I connect with other people in the communities I want to be in. So it's also why I seek out like-minded people. I seek out people who are speaking on the same things that I am. And that's where I will also see exposure. I will see more people. That's just how it works. And so, always remember that the hard work is the good work. The hard work is the right thing to do. Sometimes it's hard, the instant gratification and all of that things, but you're honestly kind of living your truth. This is another thing I tell people is that some way or another, there are lots of aspects about you that you are living very naturally. We just need to find a way to make sure that you're confident about doing that outside of your home and outside of it. That way people can respect that the life that you're living and the way that you're living. But yes, this was so fun. I love doing this.
I love this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Dang. Look at my chart. I'm so cool.
You really are. You really are.
Goodness.
And I think that's the first step is that I need people to first they need that because there's so many people who are going to come, and I'm sure you found it, people who are just not feeling like they have anything to work with. And we are here to tease that out and, shut that part of them up and be listen, guys.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I love this. Okay. So this is basically affirmed that everything I'm doing is wonderful.
I found you, you were out there and I was yes, this girl is aligned.
You did find me.
I'm so glad. So, and that just kind of gives you guys a taste of, I always tell people it's a collaborative conversation. I'm not telling you who you are. We are talking about who you are. You want to, like Caitlin did, yes, this aligns. I came up with this feels right, or that doesn't feel right. And we're going to kind of get underneath and figure out where these things are coming from and talk about you. You deserve to be talked about. in ways that are affirming and not, well, it could be better if you, again, took more classes or took more social media courses. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's be us, guys. We're pretty
unhinged on the internet. Just remove the hinges. No hinges. Okay, so how can people find you, and what are the ways that you work with people? So like if somebody watched this and was like, I want that.
So you can find me on divergentbydesign.co, and on Instagram, it's divergentbydesignco.co. Divergentbydesign.co. It's all the same, whether it's the website or the handle. And I have links. And the first thing I'm offering right now, while I'm working on my positive psychology, diversity, and inclusion community, is natal chart readings. And so, kind of what me and Caitlin just did, and making sure that you leave a conversation with me feeling 10 times more empowered than maybe you entered the conversation, and just get you thinking about the ways in which you feel authentic and living that authenticity, and maybe dropping more of those masks and accepting that it's absolutely okay if you exist this way, despite it maybe not blending with what you believe you were supposed to do. And so a natal chart reading is the first of many conversations. There's transits we can talk about, solar returns, Saturn return. There's so many things, but the first things first is a natal chart reading, because I want you to feel amazing. And I know that it's not like an overnight fix, but I want people to realize that we often underestimate what self-love truly looks like and what self-love truly can do for you. And it's the beginning. We have to start there.
Gorgeous. Thank you for being with us for this episode today, Praxie. And if y'all want more astrology, we will do it.
Yes.
They'll change your approach and tell you a joke to lighten your load and help you along, or sing you a song. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.